In Omu village, where sunlight kissed the rooftops each morning and night winds whispered old secrets, there lived a woman whose hands worked magic. Her name was Kela, and everyone called her the hairstylist of 1,000 wonders. With just one braid, she could mend broken hearts, calm crying babies, or make a simple woman feel like royalty. Villagers said the ancestors had blessed her fingers. Subscribe and follow us for more stories.
But blessings can turn bitter when fed by the wrong hunger. Kela's salon sparkled like a jewel, filled with laughter, bright colors, and the sweet smell of coconut oil. Every woman desired her touch. Every man admired her skill. Yet, behind her famous smile lived a dangerous craving to be the most powerful, the most loved, the most necessary person in all of Omu. And nobody threatened that dream more than the quiet girl sweeping hair in the corner. The girl's name was Asha, and though she seemed harmless, Kela sensed something unsettling about her. Something that made Kela's heart squeeze tight with fear she couldn't name. Asha had appeared in Omu months earlier like morning mist, silent, mysterious, with no family and no past she would speak of. Kela had taken her in, mostly to show the village her generous heart. But generosity wasn't what Kela truly felt. Asha moved like a shadow, her steps soft, her spirit gentle. She watched everything with quiet, careful eyes, and she possessed a strange gift that even she didn't fully understand. When Asha's hands touched hair, something shifted. Her fingers moved with unusual grace, weaving strands as if following instructions whispered by invisible voices. The braid she created felt different, warmer somehow, as if they carried hidden blessings. Clients began to notice. "That girl's touch feels like my grandmother's hands," one woman murmured after Asha helped with a simple style. "She calms my troubled mind," another whispered, relaxing under Asha's gentle fingers. Each compliment stabbed Kela's pride like a thorn. Her jaw tightened, her eyes grew cold. The more people praised Asha, the more Kela's jealousy swelled like storm clouds gathering before thunder. Kela's smile became a mask. Beneath it, envy grew claws that dug deeper each day. She began giving Asha only the smallest, most humiliating tasks, sweeping floors, washing towels, scrubbing tools until her hands grew raw. When clients requested Asha's help, Kela would snap. "She's not ready. I'll handle it." But the village had already felt something changing. The air itself seemed to carry warnings. Elder Naibu, the keeper of village traditions and secrets, sensed the shift most strongly. His weathered eyes missed nothing. One afternoon, he entered the salon and watched Kela work on a customer's hair, weaving an intricate pattern he recognized immediately. His brow furrowed with concern. "Where did you learn that braid?" he asked quietly. Kela's hands froze mid-weave. Her smile returned too quickly, too bright. Creativity strikes sometimes, Elder. But Elder Naibu saw the flash of fear beneath her false cheerfulness. And across the room, Asha noticed it too. The way Kela's fingers trembled, the way her eyes wouldn't meet the Elder's gaze. Something was being hidden. That night, curiosity pulled Asha like an invisible thread. She returned to the salon after closing, intending only to organize the back room. But her eyes caught something unusual, a faint gleam beneath a dusty cloth in the corner. She lifted the fabric carefully. A comb, ancient-looking, carved with symbols that seemed to pulse with faint warmth. The markings felt strangely familiar, as if she'd seen them in dreams she couldn't quite remember. The moment Asha's fingers touched the comb, heat surged through her palm. Images flashed behind her eyes, a woman laughing, hands moving with divine grace, a salon filled with pure joy. Then suddenly, a scream cutting through the vision like a knife. Asha gasped, dropping the comb. Footsteps sounded in the hallway. She quickly hid the comb back under the cloth just as Kela swept into the room, her eyes sharp and dangerous as broken glass. "What are you doing here?" Kela whispered, her voice tight with suspicion. Asha bowed her head quickly. "Just organizing the tools. I'm sorry." Kela stepped closer until Asha could feel her breath. "Stay out of rooms that don't belong to you." But Asha noticed something crucial. Kela wasn't just angry. She was trembling, not with rage, but with fear.
The next morning, Elder Naibu appeared at Asha's small rented room. His expression was grave. "You found something last night," he said softly. It wasn't a question. Asha hesitated, then nodded. "A comb, old, with strange symbols." The elder sighed deeply, settling onto a wooden stool. His ancient eyes seemed to look through time itself. There was once a legendary hairstylist named Naya. Her craft wasn't just skill. It was a gift passed down through generations. She could weave strength into braids, healing into cornrows, courage into every strand. People traveled from distant villages just to feel her touch. Asha's heart pounded faster. One day, 15 years ago, Naya vanished without explanation. No goodbye, nobody, no answers. The village mourned her as if she died. He paused, his voice dropping lower. And the only person who was with her that last day was Kella. The room seemed to shrink around Asha. "Why would Kella hide this?" she whispered. Elder Naibu's eyes grew dark with knowledge. "Because what she carries isn't just greed, child. It is guilt that has poisoned her soul for 15 years.
Jealousy transformed Kella into someone unrecognizable. The more clients praised Asha's gentle touch, the more violently the claws of envy dug into Kella's heart. One busy afternoon, Kella staged a cruel sin. She discovered her best combs broken, her expensive oil spilled, her tools scattered across the floor, her face twisted with calculated fury. "You did this!" she shouted at Asha in front of a saloon full of customers. "You're trying to destroy me. You want my saloon, my reputation, everything I've built." Asha stood frozen, humiliated as gasps filled the room. Gossip spread through Omu village like wildfire. Whispers about the ungrateful apprentice, the jealous young girl, the troublemaker. But then, a voice rose from the back of the saloon. A woman Asha had never seen before, tall, wrapped in a dark shawl, spoke quietly. "You should be very careful," she murmured to Asha as she passed. "When light begins to grow, shadows panic and strike hardest." The woman disappeared before Asha could ask what she meant. But her words echoed in Asha's mind long after the saloon emptied and the doors closed for the night. Asha began piecing together fragments like a broken puzzle. The ancient comb with its mysterious symbols, the sacred braid pattern Elder Naibu had questioned, the story of vanished Naya. Kella's sudden panic when anyone got too close to her secrets. One evening, a fierce storm attacked Ojumu village. Thunder shook the walls, wind howled like grieving spirits, and rain hammered the rooftops. Under cover of the storm's chaos, Asha returned to the salon with determination burning in her chest. She searched the back room more thoroughly this time. Behind a cracked mirror hanging on the wall, she discovered a hidden compartment she'd never noticed before. Inside lay a bundle of letters, yellowed with age. Her hands trembled as she opened them. Each letter was addressed to Naya in different handwriting. Messages from grateful clients, notes from friends, expressions of love and admiration. But underneath, she found different letters. These were written in two hands, going back and forth, a conversation between friends that slowly turned bitter. Words of partnership became accusations of jealousy. Affection transformed into betrayal. The final letter made Asha's blood run cold. The last letter contained a braid diagram, complex, beautiful, powerful. Across the top, written in elegant script, "For my daughter, when she is grown and ready to inherit what is rightfully hers." Asha's breath caught in her throat. The pattern, the power, the gift described in these letters, it was meant for her. Somehow, impossibly, she knew this truth in her bones. Memories she thought were dreams suddenly sharpened into focus. A woman's laugh she'd heard all her life in quiet moments. Hands she'd seen in fleeting visions. A love she'd felt but never understood. Naya wasn't just a legendary hairstylist who'd vanished. Naya was her mother. And Kella had buried that truth for 15 years, stealing not just a legacy, but an entire identity, leaving Asha to grow up alone, believing she belonged to no one. Thunder crashed overhead as the final piece clicked into place. Asha looked up from the letters, tears streaming down her face. Kella stood in the doorway, soaked from rain, her face pale as moonlight. She'd seen everything. "What have you touched, Asha?" Kela whispered, her voice shaking with emotions too complicated to name. "You stole my mother's legacy," Asha cried, standing with letters clutched in her fists. "You took everything she built. You made me believe I was nobody." Kela's face twisted with 15 years of suppressed torment. "I wanted what she had. Do you understand? The whole world saw her, loved her, needed her. Nobody ever saw me. I was invincible next to her light." Her voice cracked. "I was her best friend, but I might as well have been her shadow." "So you destroyed her?" Asha's voice rose with fury and grief mixing together. "What did you do to my mother?" Before Kela could answer, loud knocking interrupted them. Elder Naibu's voice called from outside, urgent and commanding. "Both of you must come out now. The village has gathered." Kela's face went white. She looked at Asha with an expression that held fear, regret, and something that might have been relief, as if she'd been waiting 15 years for this moment of reckoning. They stepped into the storm together, leaving the scattered letters behind, like evidence of a crime finally uncovered. The night air felt electric with more than just lightning. Word of the confrontation had spread impossibly fast, as secrets always do in small villages. Despite the raging storm, people rushed from their homes, forming a dense circle around the salon. Torches flickered in the wind and rain, casting dancing shadows on anxious faces. Kela stood trembling, pride and fear battling across her features. Asha stood blazing with righteous anger and newfound truth. Elder Naibu positioned himself between them, like a gate between two storms, his presence commanding silence. 15 years we have lived with questions, the elder announced to the gathered crowd. Tonight we will have answers. Speak, Kela. The time for hiding has ended. Kela lifted her chin with the last remnants of her dignity. Rain mixed with tears on her cheeks. "Yes," she said loud enough for everyone to hear. "I betrayed Naya. I envied everything she had. Her gift, her reputation, the love people showered on her. But she didn't vanish because of me alone." Confused murmurings rippled through the crowd. A cloaked figure emerged from the shadows at the edge of the gathering. Every eye turned toward this stranger. The wind seemed to shift direction, as if nature itself was holding its breath. The figure moved forward slowly, deliberately. When she reached the torchlight's edge, she lifted her hands to her veil with movements that seemed both hesitant and determined. The veil fell away. Someone in the crowd gasped, then another, then a wave of shocked recognition swept through the gathering like wildfire. "Naya," an old woman whispered, the name barely audible but heard by everyone in the sudden silence. Alive. Older, yes, marked by hardship, her face carrying scars both visible and hidden, but unmistakably, impossibly alive. Asha felt the world tilt beneath her feet. The mother she'd never known, whom she just discovered through letters, now stood breathing and real just meters away. Naya's eyes found Asha immediately, and in them burned an emotion so intense it made Asha's knees weak. Love mixed with sorrow, pride mixed with regret, joy mixed with pain accumulated over 15 years of separation. "My daughter," Naya said softly, though her voice carried to every listening ear. "You've grown beautiful. You've grown strong, just as I always knew you would." The crowd erupted in whispers, but Elder Naibu raised his hand for silence. The story wasn't finished yet. Naya's voice, though quiet, held unshakable strength. "I left this village because Kela betrayed me, yes, but I also vanished because I feared the power I carried. Power that was grown too strong, too dangerous in ways I didn't understand." She looked at Kela without hatred, only sadness. "Kela poisoned my reputation with lies, turned clients against me, stole my techniques, and claimed them as her own. But worse than that, she threatened to harm the one thing I loved more than my craft, my infant daughter." Asha's hands flew to her mouth. Kela sobbed openly now. "I was desperate, consumed by jealousy. I said terrible things I didn't mean. But I believed you," Naya continued. "So I made the hardest choice a mother can make. I left Asha with a trusted friend in another village and disappeared, hoping my absence would keep her safe. I've watched from afar all these years, waiting for the right time to return." She turned fully toward Asha, and her eyes shimmered with tears. "You are the heir to our lineage, child. Your gift is the return of everything I lost. The ancestors chose you before you were born. That ancient comb you found has been waiting for your hands." The ancestral comb seemed to pulse with warmth in Aisha's pocket, as if confirming Naya's words.
Aisha pulled it out slowly, and in the torchlight, it appeared to glow faintly, recognizing its true honor. Kela fell to her knees in the mud, her pride finally shattered completely. I wanted to be chosen, she choked out through tears. I practiced for years, perfected every technique, worked until my hands bled, but the gift never came to me. It was always meant for her bloodline, never for someone like me, someone ordinary. Her voice broke. I was so jealous I became a monster. I drove away my best friend. I stole her life's work. I built my entire reputation on lies and techniques that were never mine to claim. The village watched in stunned silence as the proud Kela, the woman who'd seemed invincible, untouchable, dissolved into broken sobs of genuine remorse. I don't deserve forgiveness. I don't deserve anything but exile. The crowd murmured, some with anger, some with pity. Elder Naibu raised his hand again, and the murmurs died. The moment of judgment had arrived, and everyone knew the elder's word would be final. Elder Naibu's voice carried the weight of tradition and wisdom accumulated over 70 years. Kela, your greed wounded not just one woman, but our entire village. You built success on stolen gifts. You silenced truth with lies. You separated a mother from her daughter for 15 years. Kela kept her head bowed, accepting each word like a blow. However, the elder continued, and hope flickered across Kela's face. Your remorse appears genuine. True justice requires both punishment and the possibility of redemption. You will not be cast out from Omu. We do not abandon our own. But you will be stripped of your salon, your reputation, and your pride. He paused, letting the words sink in. From this day forward, you will serve, not command. Your hands, which stole another's legacy, will now rebuild through humility. You will tend to the poorest villagers without payment. You will learn that true mastery comes not from taking, but from giving freely. Kela nodded, still weeping, but something like relief showed through her tears. Perhaps she'd been waiting 15 years to be freed from her own lies. Then something unexpected happened. Aisha stepped forward, the ancestral comb still glowing softly in her palm.
Asha looked at Kela. This woman who'd stolen so much, hurt so deeply, lied so completely. Every reasonable part of Asha's mind screamed for revenge, for justice, for punishment beyond what the elder had decreed. But she thought of her mother, who'd chosen exile over violence. She thought of the letters, which spoke of friendship before jealousy poisoned it. She thought of the legacy she was inheriting, not just skill with hair, but wisdom about human hearts. Asha reached out her hand toward Kela. The crowd gasped in shock. I will not inherit bitterness along with my mother's gifts, Asha said clearly. Your choices wounded many people, including yourself. But I choose a different path, the path my mother taught me through her sacrifice. Truth, mercy, and courage. Kela looked up with disbelief, then grasped Asha's offered hand like a drowning person grasps a rope. Fresh tears poured down her face, but these carried a different quality. Not self-pity, but genuine gratitude for grace she knew she didn't deserve. The villagers erupted in murmurs of respect. Even those who'd wanted harsher punishment felt something shift in their hearts, a reminder that mercy can be stronger than revenge. Naya stepped forward, placing her scarred hands over both younger women's joined hands. The comb in Asha's other palm blazed brighter, casting warm golden light across all three faces. The ancestors themselves seemed to approve this moment of healing. The storm that had raged throughout the confrontation began to ease. Rain softened to a gentle mist. Wind calmed to a whisper. The clouds parted slightly, allowing moonlight to stream through, as if even the sky was relieved that truth had finally emerged. Elder Naibu spoke again, addressing the entire village. Let this night be remembered. Let it be taught to children and grandchildren. Greed may build impressive thrones, but truth always brings the sunrise. The crowd slowly dispersed, buzzing with conversation. Some approached Naya with tearful welcomes. Others congratulated Asha. A few even offered Kela words of encouragement for her difficult path ahead. Asha and Naya finally stood alone together, mother and daughter, meeting truly for the first time in conscious memory. You were just a baby when I left, Naya said softly, touching Asha's face with gentle, wandering fingers. I missed everything. Your first words, your first steps, watching you discover your gift. It's a grief I'll carry forever. But you kept me safe, Asha replied, her own tears flowing freely now. And you came back when I needed you most. That's what I'll remember. They embraced while the ancestral comb glowed between them. 3 generations of power united once more. In the weeks that followed, Omu village transformed. Asha opened a new salon, not grand like Kela had been, but warm and welcoming, built on truth rather than stolen glory. Naya walked beside her, teaching the deep secrets of their lineage, explaining how each braid pattern connected to ancestral wisdom and healing. Word spread quickly. People came not just from Omu, but from distant villages, seeking the touch of the young woman whose hands carried genuine blessing rather than false reputation. Kela kept her promise. Each morning, she woke before dawn and went to the poorest sections of the village, offering her skills freely to those who'd never been able to afford her expensive salon. Slowly, painfully, she rebuilt herself from humility. Her hands, which had taken so much, now learned to give. Some villagers never forgave her completely. Old wounds heal slowly. But most recognized her genuine transformation. Children who'd once feared her stern face now smiled when she braided their hair with patient gentleness. One evening, months after the truth emerged, an elderly woman approached Asha's salon. She'd been one of Kela's most loyal clients. "I'd like Kela to do my hair," she said firmly, "but I'd like her to do it here, in the salon built on truth, if that's acceptable to you." Asha smiled. "It's more than acceptable. It's exactly right." Years passed, as they always do. Omu village never forgot that stormy night when secrets finally surfaced. The story became legend, told and retold, each generation adding their own understanding, while keeping the essential truth intact. Children grew up learning the lesson carved into their community's memory. Greed may build impressive monuments, but truth is the only foundation that lasts. Envy may bring temporary success, but humility leads to genuine peace. Asha's salon became more than a business. It transformed into a sanctuary. A place where hands braided not just hair, but hope. Where each pattern woven into strands carried blessings of strength, healing, courage, and love passed down through generations. Naya eventually passed peacefully, satisfied that her legacy lived on in capable, honest hands. Kela lived to old age too, never recovering her former fame, but finding something more valuable: genuine friendship with Asha and redemption through years of humble service. The ancient comb remained in Asha's keeping, glowing warmly whenever she used it, waiting for the day she would pass it to her own daughter. And Omo village thrived, built on a foundation not of greed and lies, but of truth courageously spoken and mercy generously given, woven strand by strand into the very hair of the community, a legacy that would never fade.
Folk Tale Story by Nas.